Hello my students and welcome back. This is Aruj Muzaffar from the Department of English, University of Southern Punjab. It's so good to have you here today. We are going to dive into comprehension and analysis of functional English, and I will walk you through it step by step. Today's topic is contextual interpretation, tone, biases, stereotypes, assumptions, inferences. The warm-up questions include that as you are ready to move beyond silent reading and truly master the sound of a language. And by the end of this lecture, you will be able to have 5 objectives of understanding the layers of contextual interpretation. By being aware of how tone, biases, and assumptions affect a message, you can craft your communication to be as clear and unambiguous as possible. This helps to prevent misinterpretations and ensures your intended meaning is the one that is received. When you demonstrate an awareness of the other person's perspectives and the context of the situation, you show that you are a thoughtful and empathetic communicator. Actively checking your assumptions and avoiding stereotypes helps you to engage respectfully, which builds trust and strengthens relationships. Understanding the role of tone and subtle inferences in a message allows you to connect on a deeper, more emotional level. By recognizing and responding to the underlying feelings and intentions behind a person's words, you can create a more empathetic and genuine interaction. In a professional or collaborative setting, acknowledging how individual biases and differing assumptions can color communication is crucial. By working to the understanding of these filters, teams can more effectively identify and address the root causes of conflict and work together more productively towards a common goal. And this process of deconstructing a message to identify its tone, biases, and understated assumptions trains you to become a more critical and analytical thinker. This skill extends beyond communication to all areas of life, enabling you to be better evaluator in information, question what is presented, and the form more nuanced conclusions. Here is a breakdown of each concept, as these are the key elements in analyzing how a message, written, spoken, or visual, conveys meaning beyond just the surface. Let me explain each term with brief definitions and examples so we can interpret something contextually. If you already have a specific passage or situation in mind, feel free to share it. Otherwise, here is a general overview. Tone is the speaker's attitude towards the subject or audience. Let's discuss it with the help of an example. Like, if your tone is sarcastic, oh great, another meeting, just what I needed. If our tone is formal, we will say, we respectfully request your presence at the meeting. If our tone is frustrated, we will say, why are we having yet another meeting on this? Tone can signal whether something is meant sincerely, ironically, critically, enthusiastically, or etc. Basically, this is about that when our tone is sometimes loud or slow, we can give our message in a more meaningful way. Sometimes our tone conveys that idea which our words are unable to give. As I gave you many examples of our sarcastic, dramatic tone or some respectful tone in which our tone was conveying the things which our words were unable to convey. Basically, it's a fact that our words are conveying the idea that we have in our heart or in our mind, but our tone is the medium through which we express that what we are actually feeling. Like in our sarcastic tone, the pronounced sentence is that it was what was actually needed, but the reality is that it was not needed at all. So let's discuss the other aspect of it, in which a preference or prejudice or against something often without logical justification. Examples: a news article only quoting one political party may show political bias. Let's discuss it and discuss it with the help of an example. Like if someone is consistently quoting one political party in his discourse or in his discussion, this means that he has a natural liking towards that party. But if he is negatively discussing the other party, which is though not that negative in its construction or in its works, but he is depicting it in a negative way, it means that he is having an unliking towards it. A job posting that implies younger candidates are preferred may reflect age bias. Bias shapes how information is presented or omitted. It reveals the author's learnings or blind spots. Let's discuss it till this point, that how some biases are so different from the communication that we are making. Someone is saying that we are needing freshers or the people who are not that experienced in some field. It basically means that they are not looking for the old people. They are rather needing more energetic people who are more concerned and are more dedicated in their activities or in their passion towards work. This basically reflects that the company or the person who had advertised that job is having a bias towards this concept that young people are more energetic than the older ones, and he is taking the value of experience for granted. Let's discuss the third type, which is stereotypes, oversimplified and fixed ideas about a group of people. Examples: women are naturally more emotional. Well, this is not about that they are less rational or they are more prone towards crying or something like this. It's rather meaning that women are more expressive in their emotions. They are easily laughing, easily crying, and they are expressively more competent or more in their perspective of judging as compared to men. Teenagers are always glued to their phones. This also means that the youth is more towards this concept that they are always sticking to their phones and they are having no time for outdoor activities or for sitting together in their families. Identifying stereotypes helps unpack generalizations that may be harmful, inaccurate, or limiting. Assumptions. Let's discuss assumptions. It is the idea that is taken for granted without any proof. Example: everyone celebrates Christmas. Well, this is not about that every community that is celebrating Christmas. It is just this idea that if you are living in Europe, it is expected, or it is an assumption that most of the people living over there are basically celebrating Christmas. Second example is, if she is quiet, she must be shy. Discuss this point as well, because it never is a reality that if a person is not speaking in the group of some people or in some gathering, it means that he is shy. It may mean that he is not comfortable, or he is sick, or he is having something in his mind, because he is not comfortable in sharing that idea in front of that person. Well, in the second point is inferences. Inferences are the conclusions that are drawn based on evidence and reasoning rather than explicit statements. Let's discuss it with the help of some examples. If someone walks into a room for frowning and slams a book down, you might infer they are upset. It may not be a reality, because sometimes the person is sick, or he is frustrated, or even sometimes he is not feeling anything at all. He just came in a blank state of mind, and he came and he threw his book on the table, which may be a normal gesture, but because he threw it in a forceful way, you infer that he is upset or he is angry. But this may be unreal. Sometimes it may be real as well. So if a text says, he clutched his stomach and doubled over, you might infer pain or illness. Inference reading helps us grasp meaning that is implied rather than directly stated. So if we put all these ideas into one, so we get this idea of contextual interpretation. Let's say we are analyzing this statement. She probably got the promotion because she is always buttering the boss. Contextual interpretation includes the tone of this sentence can be very bitter and resentful. The bias behind this sentence can be potential gender bias, implying women succeed due to their appearance, behavior rather than merit. The stereotype suggests that women use charm instead of skills to get ahead. The assumption is from this sentence that it is assumed that promotion was unearned and influenced by personal behavior. Inference out of this sentence is that the speaker feels the promotion was unfair or undeserved, and that's why he was so bitter in making the comment and saying what may he actually not mean, but he said that out of some state of mind. Let's summarize our whole lecture together in the next minute. It was all about the significance of tone, assumptions, and bias that we are having, some stereotypes that can be social or cultural. Tone was about the idea that how we convey our thoughts of mind or the feelings of our heart in our voice, and sometimes our voice is raised, sometimes it is being conveyed in a very bitter, or sometimes it can be conveyed in a very sweet way. Stereotypes include social, educational, gender-based, age-based, as we have discussed in the interpretation of our lecture, that we carry certain stereotypes that can be conveyed to us historically or socially, or sometimes even this is possible that we inherit certain stereotypes that grow with us and they become the part of our personality. And whenever we are making a communication and we are judging the people or judging the society around us, we are about this idea and we are inferring the patterns and behaviors and sentences of the people based on those stereotypes that we are carrying. For example, it is generally assumed because of the stereotype that women are incompetent and they cannot handle their professional and personal life well. This stereotype is basically conveyed to us from the our forefathers, our social structure, our domestic backgrounds, but it does not mean that stereotype is a reality. Sometimes certain stereotypes are based on some rational patterns, logical thinking, or even biological aspects as well, but it does not mean that all of our stereotypes are rational or they are based on some reasonable grounds. In the same way, assumptions are that ideas that we carry in our mind and we are unable to convey our rational patterns of judgment without making those assumptions. For example, if someone is looking upset and he is superior to us in his authority, we may understand and we may presume and we may assume that because he is having a bad temperament or is in a bad mood, so we should avoid talking to him or we should not go to him for having some favor. This may not be real. You may go to him and you can state him the purpose of your arrival, and you can tell him that you basically came for taking a day off, and he may be pleasant to you as well. But because we are expecting that his frown on the head or his bad expressions are suggesting that we should not go over there. So this is basically the assumption that we are carrying in our mind without any logical pattern, without any understanding of proper human behavior. This lecture was all about understanding the layers of communication. If you are able to understand it, you will be able to have a very good communication in your further life, at your personal and your professional and of course educational level as well. Let's wind it up, and I will see you soon in your next lecture.